and you make 25, which is still a decent rate.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good arrangement. I could see where that would be attractive. And do you mind if I ask?
Fantastic percentage. 25 is really, really good.
Yeah. And by the way, that's with no threshold? Like, does it have to hit 2,000, 3,000, or just 25 out of the gate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 25 gate. Yeah.
Gotcha. And when does this hit stores? It's pretty soon, right? Or is it
August 16th. So not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. Yeah, we got 4 covers coming out. So this is the Luis Santamarina cover.
Nice.
That's Benigno.
That's gorgeous.
And then we got the Noel SB. I don't know if you've hung out with Noel or talked to him. He's in Luis's circle. Guy is a madman.
I don't think I know him. Yeah,
he is saying you should reach out to him. He's so cool. He actually gave me an idea. He's like, hey, I got these characters. He sent me a bunch of stuff, and now I'm trying to write a book for him. So really excited about that one. Then the coloring one with Luis's. They do cool little different ones. And then
this is cool.
The Disney VHS covers. Do you remember those?
Yeah, dude, that is really cool. I love that one.
Thank you. They do all the Scoot books in that cover.
And
still there?
Yeah.
Timothy.
You're coming in and out, Tim.
Yeah.
I think your connection's
we lost you for a couple of seconds there.
Okay. Hey, can I ask you who your printer is, Davey?
I don't know. It's a great question. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at the book.
Well, if you print them yourself, how do you get the order going, or is that something they set up?
So I could set that up with them, right? So I could be like, hey, I could reach out to them for comps, right? Or I could say like, hey, I'm going to buy the printing for a run.
Gotcha. Okay, understood. All right, perfect. Hey, let's jump over to Zhang. It is Zhang, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Man, it's great to see you, and I want to hear more about Symphonic Verses. So in your case, you're self-publishing yourself and doing these terrific numbers. So I definitely wanted to talk to you. The first thing is, how do you print them? Do you print them in the States? Do you print overseas?
No, I print them here.
Are you? Who's your printer? Are you willing to disclose who your printer is?
So there's been kind of there was like there was a issue kind of with printing to printer kind of thing. So I'm letting some space between the former company and myself kind of heal itself. And I've had to figure out some new arrangements for stuff, and I apologize. It's not because I'm trying to be overly vague, but I don't want to.
No. Hey, quick comment. Anybody who doesn't, if there's something you don't want to disclose, it's totally cool, man. Yeah, I get it. Really, what we're trying to do is, if there's positive stuff, you can share that. We try not to shine a light on the kind of negative stuff. But it'd be fair to say that you've got what I would call kind of a high-end glossy product, right? It's first of all, it's magazine sized. Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct. I print magazine size. I always felt like the standard comic size Western size. I mean, that wasn't for me. And I think it's because growing up, I didn't really grow up reading like American comics. I grew up with like Chinese wuxia and manhwa and Korean comics, and that's the stuff that there are some American books I've read, but that's really the stuff that I'm into, and they all print at much larger sizes. And so I felt that for the way I do my art and the way I tell the story, it was best to present it in that kind of format. Right. It just fits much better.
And quick aside question, I find that very fascinating. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I live in a Mandarin household myself. How were you exposed to the wuxia material?
So growing up, it's family. My grandmother is Taiwanese. And so, when you grow up in a household where, if you look at my aunts and my cousins, some nieces, we cover the gambit as far as like where our families are connected. And so it was just something that I grew up with. I was just familiar with it.
Yeah,
and
cool.
And the way that they make stories is so
It's different.
I mean, it is completely different, but it's
Right.
it's stunning. Every panel looks like a painted work of art, and so those were the things that's what impressed me growing up over the years. And so I that's where I learned how to do it, was from studying these experts from there.
Sure.
And you know, like Davey was saying, all the rejections, I mean, I went to everybody except Marvel and DC, and I got rejected 169 times by
Nice.
publishers
Good number.
because, and the funny thing is they didn't say because it was wrong. They just were like, it's too different, and so they say they don't know what to do. And so I said, okay, well, I'm just going to start my own label. So I did, and then I tried to get into Diamond, and Diamond said that they couldn't compare it to anything on the market, so that's why they chose not to pick it up. And so I couldn't even do that, and so I was like, okay, well, it's just all these things. And so I just started selling directly from my website to readers, and everything just started changing after that.
Yeah, you definitely have a very original kind of look, and man, I really dug it as soon as I saw it. Are you comfortable with disclosing the sales numbers? I have seen them, but if you don't want to say, it's cool.
Oh, sure. No, I don't mind. So to date, I'm sitting at 5,412 physical copies sold without any crowdfunding at all.
Congrats, man.
Damn.
Oh,
that's pretty good.
You.
Yeah, dude, that's outstanding. First of all, congratulations to you. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have this topic. And
could I ask a question?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Yes,
yes. Yeah. What would you compare your comic to? Like you said, the publishers couldn't, but they're not really going out of their way to try, because I don't know, they don't like to work. I work for a publishing company. We don't like to work. What would you compare it to?
I mean, I think I could say that if you enjoy things like Castlevania, Final Fantasy,
oh hell
yeah, Hamlet, things like that, that's
that's awesome.
Right. I mean, really, these really great, very, very wonderful franchises. And even though I very much enjoy the Eastern style of art that I learn from and continue to do. Oh, thanks, Pop. Yeah, I mean, it's a mix of a couple things. But I really love like the high Baroque and the Rococo and things like that. So it's all kind of infused in there, but I just have like my own blend of the way that I do my art and designs. And I kind of torture myself where even if I wanted to make the books look simpler, I'm so deep in the water now, I can't go back. So I have to just keep making it complicated looking visually, because I can't undo what I've been doing all this time. So it's
very cool.
I'm just kind of stuck.
And let me ask you this question, then we're going to go around the room with this one. What would you say is your primary sales platform? Is it your website?
Yeah, the website. Yeah.
And one quick question about that. Do you design your own website?
I design it, but it actually is built by a very good friend of mine named Sonia Park, who she has a business called Insight, and she takes all my ideas and I put the designs out in images, and then she brings it to life. And I've known her for many years, and if anybody needs a website, definitely Sonia's the person to go to. She is super, super awesome.
Okay, great. Well, let's jump over to Christian, because I want to ask him this too. So one of the things of the alternatives to crowdfunding is, of course, web platforms and modern web advertising. Some of you guys know I have a little bit of a web background myself. I used to work for Gravity Free. The first question for Christian is, first of all, did you design your own website?
Nope. the design was mainly, it was a couple of people. For example, most of the artwork from Parknoy was done by Samuel Hernandez, an artist that we normally collaborate with, fantastic artist from Spain. And then we also pulled out some of pieces of the old website, and also everything that we have material, any visual material we have, we put it in there. And then we went through our company, and then we pay them for the design, and they also do the maintenance, because that's the tricky part. Because you can design it yourself, or you can put it like in any one of these platforms to do it kind of easier, intuitive. But then you need somebody to maintain it, the protocol, security, and all that. So that's when you need someone to really run into that.
Do you sell, Christian, on yours, do you sell floppies? Do you sell physical copies and digital copies through your website?
Mainly physical. We haven't done any digital because we're kind of like a little bit worried about that, especially with the piracy thing, and especially when I'm from Spain, there is like normal. Everything is for free, and coaches for free, and how dare you to charge me anything? So I'm kind of like, So I'm kind of like a little bit scared to do anything digital. The only time we do digital is when we do crowdfunding. That's it. And when that is done, it's done. We never do, but we're kind of doing it. Like, for example, when we go to conventions, we also sell the cards with some download codes, through book funnel, sorry. And so we kind of do it a little bit, but not so much in the open. Like, hey, you can buy it digital from the website. So, but we're getting there, I suppose. We need to. As I mentioned before, now that the shipping costs are crazy, so we really need to adapt and pivot there.
And where are you shipping from? You're in Ireland, right?
Yeah.
Do you ship from Ireland, or does it ship from somewhere else?
Normally we ship through Ireland. We're trying to work a deal for somebody to ship through the US. That's kind of like we're working on that. That's the whole. That's the new, and we're gonna get, and we're also working on to have a deal to ship from Japan also.
Oh, nice.
So in order to cover the Pacific, and mainly Australia, New Zealand, all that area, because
it's a great idea.
From Europe will be impossible to ship. Will be like more than double the price of the book.
Right. Since you mentioned that, that's something that we're looking into, and it is something that loosely ties into Davey here, because I do have a couple of customers in Argentina, and I got a couple in Canada. I'm not talking about hundreds, guys, but it's a couple dozen anyway. So what we're going to look into doing is hiring an additional printer and having it fulfilled. The shipping, as you know, to Canada is obscene. And anytime you're talking about getting into the Southern Hemisphere, it's 3 times what the cost of the book is. So it's costing me a ton of money every time. So there is a way to address this. Davey, I'm going to ask you, first off, how did you program your own website? Do you sell digital and physical? And also, are you open to the idea of like a remote fulfillment printer?
So I know that Scout Comics, they will go digital at some point. I'm not sure if our plans are to go digital right away or wait and then try to drum up some more things. Because the loose plan is that we have this sort of large ash can sort of intro to larger graphic novels of about 3 novels that I've written, to try to get those out at like 90 to 110 pages each. So not sure when we'll go digital. If we'll go digital right away with Ashcan, I'm not sure. My website is built by my fiance's brother on Squarespace, so minimum cost.
A good site. Lots of people use Squarespace. Sure. It's very capable.
Yeah.
So how about? So do I understand you correctly? You don't have a digital version yet of this book?
No digital version. I mean, I have preview on my website, so about 6 to 7 pages are on my website. Yeah.
Interesting. And was that just a choice based on the cost, or how did you arrive at that not to do a digital?
We didn't talk about it. Like I said, like the plan right now is loose. So I'm not sure if we're going to put this book here onto a digital platform once we're talking about the graphic novel. So unsure.
Gotcha.
So it's just, the pains and, pros and cons of working with the publisher. You're kind of working as a team, not necessarily guiding this.
You can't be banging your fist on the table. I want it digital, ready by Wednesday.
I mean, I could maybe send a text, but yeah, I couldn't request by Wednesday.
Okay, let's move over to Xing. Same question. So I don't think I did ask you do release a digital version or you don't?
No, everything is purely physical.
Gotcha.
That sounds like a song, but that is not. No, it's like Christian was saying. I mean, that's one of the concerns is if it's digital and it's easy for anyone to get access to it. At that point, you kind of lose. You lose the surprise that readers can get if everybody sees it right up front. That's why, like you've seen many of my posts, I may show panels, from certain things, but I never show page after page. It's because I want readers to experience all of that for themselves, unspoiled.
Okay.
So everything is it's just physical books.
Okay. And by the way, I appreciate that. And I do notice that something I think you do well is that you sort of, what's a way to put this? You sort of preserve the mystery of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that the reading experience will be a revelation each time. And I think that there's some value to that. And like I say, I try not to interject too much of my own stuff, but I will tell you, I now do digital everything. And it's not only my largest category, it's the fastest growing category. And also, what I mean by that is each time you do one, and this is even through my website, it is, what's a good way to put this one? It's almost a no-cost venture. I take there, in my case, it's $4.99 for one issue, and it downloads. I have no cost at all. So it's a little bit like found money. That's probably not the right way to put it. But it does put me at risk, let's be honest. I am at risk now for piracy and AI theft, which I have experienced once. I've got a horse in the AI theft race. I'll save that for the next topic as we go around. Lori asked a great question, which is how do we drive traffic to our websites? I'll go first. One of the things that I do is I am a believer in digital advertising. I'm not talking about Facebook ads. I'm kind of against those. That'll probably surprise you. But I'm a firm believer in Google ads and pay-per-click advertising. Even if it's just a little one, you'd be surprised you can get some pretty terrific results out of that. Christian, how about you? How do you drive traffic to your website?
Normally, the biggest traffic driver for us is Kickstarter, the campaigns. That's like I always say that we use crowdfunding as an excuse to have a digital marketing campaign for 3 months or something like that. So that's kind of the biggest one. And also, every time we do any event, any con, any whatever, the website is everywhere. The website's on the banners, the website's on the books, the website's on the table. So, and we have a very easy link. Also, we tend to use that to have like one of those that you can easily remember. Like in this case, punkdroid.eu, and that takes you to the website. So every time we have a new release, we do the same. So a new URL that's easy to remember, so that links to the website, to the main one, and because that doesn't really cost that much to buy a domain and redirect it. That's one of the cheapest things you can do.
It's one of the cheapest forms of advertising, right?
Yeah, and also I think that one of the best things like this to go to podcasts of friends and people you like, and because then you have like this kind of the same mind and the same audience that goes around, because the indie audience is mainly it's a complete different ecosystem than the mainstream, the two big ones, and
it's true. You have a great point, and I will tell you one thing that's true about all the creators in this room. We are all a little bit more of the esoteric / intellectual creations. I'm not just trying to make us sound smart. What I mean by that is none of us are particularly doing what I would call superhero books or mainstream books.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
that's true of all of them.
No, sorry. I always say that's the cancer of comics, sadly, to anyone who's doing them, because that's the first thing people think of, and that's what they always associated with kids. Oh, you're doing things for kids. So no, we do anything for kids.
I am doing things for kids, Christian.
Hey, once again, I'm not demonizing. We're gonna do our first books for kids next year, 2024. But imagine that's just like 9 years down the road when I'm gonna finally do something for kids. But for me, comics is just art, like Shing was saying before, like painting, sculpting, whatever. So whatever the creator has planned, you can put in. It's just a medium. It's like instead of comic, you can do 3D or you can do animation. You can do whatever. It's just a medium. So you put into there whatever whatever you want to put in. And for example, what Shing was saying, besides the superhero mainstream stuff, is in France, for example, the band Designé. It's more European stuff or whatever. So that's huge in Europe, huge. And this is really big books. There's even a format, it's called French format. So this is like almost, I think it's bigger than a magazine. So those type of things is kind of normal here. So why not do something like that? Why you have to subscribe to characters that are not really your own, and you have no saying, and you cannot really tweak and twist them the way you wanted. So
I'm right there with you. People sometimes say to me things like, well, hey, did you ever want to work for the big two or write Spider-Man or Iron Man or whoever? And man, congratulations to the people that do it. What a terrific and wonderful honor. But that's not for me. I can tell that it's not. And I've never even, like, it was never in my thinking. Like, I always wanted to have my own story. So I think we're all the same in that boat too. So let's move over to Davey. Davey, how about you, man? How do you drive traffic to your website? And is there anything that you noticed that did work or didn't work?
Man, I have no idea. I got to be honest. I don't know how to drive traffic.
If we knew, we'd all be millionaires, right?
Yeah. I do silly things, like I make TikToks, I go on Instagram, like I don't know, man. Like I get in Discord conversations with people and share it, and Reddit or whatever. I try to, I don't know. I really believe in the grassroots stuff. So like Google Ads, I think is great. If you got that budget and you want to like put it in there, but I'm trying to, I work. I know you work too, but I make crap money, and so like I'm on the internet, constantly. So, I'm just trying to get onto somewhere in some platform where there's like-minded people and build a connection and be like, hey, check out the website, share it if you like it, just things like that. Nothing really major.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move over to Jing. So you have a very successful web platform. Is that most of your sales then come from your website? Would it be fair to say that?
Yeah. Most of them come from there, and whether it's like, I have really good relationships with a lot of local comic shops kind of spread out throughout the US.
Nice.
But I also have I'm at Walmart and at Amazon and ABE Books, and for me, what I just try to do, like what Davey was saying, I mean, I use the social media, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, but throughout all of them, I keep the themes similar, that alluring mystery of what really lies beyond the scope of what this is. And typically once someone has seen the book or read it, to my surprise, they end up becoming like a reader for life. And I mean, that's what you want. I mean, it's one of those things where we're taking things that are, not real, but we're making people believe in them. Being a creator is like being a magician. You're showing, 90% of this grander illusion, but really it's this 10% of really solid artistic expression. But once they get inside there, I think they realize there's so much more to it than the way that it's presented. And so that's how I just try to keep traffic, driving to it that way. And of course, like, there are things going on with the series, like the TV show stuff, and the action figure prototype line is being produced. It's almost done. There's only like 3 more figures that have to be made, and then the whole first prototype line is ready, and the network announcement for the streaming is coming like really soon. I just talked to one of my bosses at the film studio, and so like all this stuff is getting ready to drop, and and right now the trailer is being storyboarded in Japan.
Nice.
And the artist doing it worked on Final Fantasy 14. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's a good game too.
Like the caliber of quality, that they have that kind of experience to do that. So, there's a lot of stuff that I try to do just to keep it engaging with readers and putting it out there so that people can see the scope of everything.
And how about go ahead, Christian.
Did you have to work hard on getting the distributor from Walmart, like your relations built up with them, or was that a second party?
No, so I went to them and was like, yeah, I want to sell my book and it's going to be a TV show. And they were just kind of like, oh, okay, well, just give us this paperwork and fill this out, and then it just kind of, it just kind of happened that way. And then they put it up there for sale. So
nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
My research had shown like you had to talk to distributors, but you're saying you kind of just found some sort of channel into where you could get it on the shelves with Walmart directly.
Yeah, I just went right to them. And I think I think one of the things I think that I've found is, despite all the rejections and all the things that are going on, the fact that there's a TV show coming based on a series that publishers didn't want to publish, yet a film studio saw it once, asked what it is, told me to call them, and then the president of the film studio gets on the phone and says, I like it, let's turn it into a TV show. Wow. And so it's like, and then that opened up doors to things that I didn't think would be possible, where I've been able to show it to like Santa Monica Studio, to actors and actresses from The Handmaid's Tale, from Spiral, from Saw, and they've actually purchased books. A director from Lionsgate is a fan of the series. So there's just like things that I never thought would happen, but they did, and I didn't set out for this. I just wanted to tell, like Tim said, we just wanted to tell our story. That was it. It wasn't about, oh, I'm trying to do this and that. I thought, well, if I just tell my story and somebody likes it, then maybe I've done something right. But then all these other things took shape, and so that I think has helped. In my case, I think that's helped the series more in some ways, because there's like other dimensions to it, I guess.
Well, and action begets action, right? As soon as you get a little bit of activity around something, other activities start to happen. I think that's terrific. Lori asked, is it a production company we might know, or are you willing to disclose that?
Yeah, so they're called the Global Genesis Group, and they're based in LA and then in Las Vegas, and they've got a lot of they've got shows on BET and
nice.
Lifetime, and I mean they make all kinds of movies. They have wrestling shows, they have all these kind of things that they've done, shows on Hulu and Amazon, and they saw it and they said yes when everybody else said no.
Yeah.
They were just like,
that's a great tale, and I can't wait to see how this turns out. I think it would make a terrific show, and I think you definitely have the workings of something tremendous.
Hey, Jing, when you said you had a friend in Insight, was that Insight Editions?
No. It's Insight Studios or in.
Okay.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
If Sonia could hear this, she'd hit me with something. I can put the link in there into the chat so you can
Sure.
see it. Yeah, because she where she does that. So I can grab that for you.
I thought it might have been Inside Editions. I interviewed with them. They got a lot of books in Walmart, so I was just wondering, but not that.
Yeah. I think this is something that we were saying about. Well, it's on brand on the show. It's not to circumscribe. I always say that for us, that's why we started the studio. For us the book is just like the excuse to start the whole project and to branch out. For example, we're preparing now. Next week we starting pre-production of a short film we're gonna do based on a previous book. So
which book is that? Which book is it?
The first one we published back in the day. We haven't sold the astonishing amount of copies that Shing has done, but we have done pretty well with that one, with the Red Riding Hood. So over 2,000 copies, something like that.
Oh, that's really good.
That one,
that's really good.
It's excellent. Not bad. Thank you.
Congratulations.
And thank you, because the whole idea of the studio is that one, no, is to take the classical folk tales to the 21st century, and so the first one we did was Red Riding Hood, and the second, that's the one we're gonna do based on that. We're gonna do like a black and white short film based on that. So and we're gonna do, it's gonna be live action with like people, actors, and stuff like that.
Are you casting?
So, yeah.
There you go, Davey. It is your calling. There you go, buddy.
Yeah,
I used to be an actor.
Hey, I just had.
But that's the thing. You need to branch out. You only don't stay. And that's for us. That's how. But everybody knows it. That's how Disney make their money. They don't make the money with the movie. They make the money with the toys, with the backpacks, with the lunch boxes.
It's the merchandise.
That's where they make the money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with the IP, you have all these elements that you can then market. And toy sales back in the day, a cartoon success was heavily influenced by the amount of toy sales that it did. And there was a period where Masters of the Universe, Ninja Turtles,
exactly, Transformers,
Transformers, and so it made so much money that the show was just equally as popular because of those same products. And
come on, the show was advertising.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. If you watch the episode on Netflix on the toy that made us, they talk about this, that the whole Master of the Universe was just Hasbro, Mattel, one of the big ones. They wanted a series so they can sell all this idea they had. And I said, okay, so let's produce an animation one. And the rest is history, of course. But I think that's the key. That, for example, this we have a Comic-Con next week, and this is one of the first pieces we ever printed. This is the cover of the comic, and it has a nice stand. So okay, let me take out because you don't see it if I keep on with the virtual surround. So that's out. Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
So
good time.
This is the cover of the comic made on a 3D printing. Okay, so it was designed and done by my wonderful friend Eduardo Velayos and Victor Marin, and and it has this stand. So and it has the stand has the three laws of Asimov.
Oh, buddy, that's right up my alley.
Yeah, so you can paint it. The whole idea is like the people who buy it not only to show to show at itself, but you can paint it also if you're into that. So it's a whole new market you can enter through that.
Very cool.
So and that's what idea. That's what we do in the short film too. That's what we're doing. Want to do this. Shing was saying action figures, stuff like that, because that's how you diversify and I would say that make it once, sell it 1,000 times if possible. Gotcha. Same thing.
Hey, and I have a quick comment I'd like to add just real fast. Sometimes people ask me how I drive traffic toward my own things. One of the things that I do is I try and help other people, right? That's something that has paid off very well for me. And one of those we're going to do right now, it's my buddy Gareth. He's got his Kickstarter going. It's called Fight Like a Demon. I told him I'd give him a shout out tonight. It's in the year 2035. So I like it already. So guys, if you like science fiction stories, please go over and check out Fight Like a Demon. Gareth, there's your shout out, buddy. I wish you all the luck with your project, and I hope we can get you on the show pretty soon.
Good luck, Gareth.
Yeah, he seems like a good guy. I want to help this guy. So I was being a little bit facetious, but I mean that. One of the things that I've been trying to do, and I learned this by seeing others, is to try and help other people. And Shing knows this one, which we did, which is this short form video. And let me just tell you about this real quick. And by the way, Lori was involved in this too. what it is, it's a 55-second video, a short pitch for the book, and they are suitable for TikTok, Facebook Reels, or a YouTube short. And when we did Shing's video, it had something like 1,700 views total between TikTok, Facebook. And I will tell you, I don't get 1,700 views on anything. So I realize some people get tons of views, but that was really good. So first of all, Shing, thanks for taking part in that experiment that we did. And also for you guys too that are on with us, if you want to try that, this is something I do for people just to, you're welcome, Gareth, just to try and get their products out into the stratosphere, as it were. And by the way,
please do it for me.
Yeah, man. and I say that, I do want to be a nice person, but the truth is helping others helps me. Like I do it also for a selfish reason, because it builds my credibility in the creative community. And tonight, this is 31 episodes of the Creative Cranium. We officially have cracked 100 creators on the show.
Congrats, brother.
So
awesome.
give yourself a big hand. Give yourself a big hand.
Awesome. Yeah.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
No, and it's so very cool that I remember that as what we were talking about before backstage when we started. I met you through Greg, so one of a good friend also, Greg Mulking, has a Kickstarter now, Mittens. So if you want to check it out, I recommend it.
Greg's a good guy too, man. Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's so funny, man.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So let's circle back to something that Christian had mentioned, and Shing mentioned this too. We all have a little bit of a concern about piracy in the digital world. And what I want to do is ask you guys, because we're talking about web platforms and these different things where potentially the element of piracy is high. So first, I'm going to ask you, Christian, on your website, do you do anything to prevent piracy, or have you had any kind of these troubles?
Yeah, we not with our book directly, but one of the books that we're involved in, that they started printing out like merchandise and stuff like that. So one of the Tulu books that was involved in that they mentioned the publisher, and they had to take it to legal. So it's a real concern, because as I always said to everybody in our mailing list, you see, that's another way of promoting yourself. Very good. Mailing list, very important one. That one. I didn't believe it at the beginning, but after I've seen it, yeah, you really have to have a mailing list, and you have to work hard to build it as big as possible. And so
let's expand on that one a little bit. So your mailing list, when you say expand it, because that's one of my questions, so we'll just go right into that. How do you expand your mailing list? Tell us a little bit about it.
Normally we do it through two ways. Way number one is through the Kickstarter by itself. Okay, so there you get you ask people in the campaign, hey, you want to be in the mailing list. Every time we are in a convention, in any physical event, if you want to sign up, it's for free. We give you something if you sign up. And also another way we do it is through ads. Yeah, we through magnets, or we have something for free that we're giving people that's related to whatever we're publishing, like one of the stories, and through there they get signed to the mailing list. It's not as big as we wanted to. We started first at the beginning with a lot of raffles and giveaways, stuff like that. But the problem is that you can get into trouble really, really, really quick.
Right. You can't populate. It violates MailChimp, right? Is that what you're going to say? Yeah. See, I did that. I like to talk about mistakes that I made, and I did that one. If you do how do you say this right? If you do the raffle and you get the names through winning a prize and populate a MailChimp list with it, you have violated the terms of MailChimp.
Wow. Yeah. No, and especially in Europe, it's more delicate than in the US. It's that type of stuff. So you can get into trouble really, really, really easy. Gotcha. If you don't have like really consent and double time consent and stuff like that. You can get into GDPR. You can get in a mess, like a real mess, very soon and very fast. So be careful with that. So because we did that back in the days, but we don't do that anymore ever, because there's more trouble that it brings. Yeah, and then you have like, I have a mailing list of 5,000 people. How many of them are really interested in what you're doing? That's the real question.
Right, because what we really want are customers, not necessarily names.
Correct.
Davey, how about you? Let's move over to you. First of all, do you use a mailing list, and how do you increase it if you do?
I haven't used a mailing list. No. I mean, like I said, I'm probably more green than most people here. So a mailing list, I don't even have customers yet. I mean, other than the Kickstarters that I've been a part of,
Hey man, you're getting ready to have a nationally released book through Scout. You're a superstar, buddy.
Sure. I'll tell my mom right after this. But
you should be proud of that. You should be proud of that, man.
I'm definitely proud, but
For sure.
as far as being a helpful person, as far as like, mailing lists and things like that, I don't have any experience with that. I hope that, when I go to Comic-Cons and things like that, one of the stand-up comedians, I'm forgetting who he is, I think it was Hannibal, he would always bring, a sign-up sheet for his merch table.
Yep.
So he would do a show, then he would get off and he'd be at his merch table, and sure, you could buy a CD and stuff when CDs were a thing. And then he would, say, here's a sign up, just put your email down there. And he built a great audience that way. And so that's what I'm planning on doing. Just again, that grassroots things, getting real. I think who said it? It might have been Jing, but getting those real customers in there that really want to participate with the book.
Right. So let's move over to Jing. So do you use a mailing list, Jing?
I have in the past, and it's been, it's been okay. I think with social media becoming a thing, like it's just part of everyday life now, that kind of makes it easier to stay in touch with a lot of your fans, because you can just post here and here and here, and then everybody will see it kind of that way. So that's really kind of what I just kind of do it that way.
Gotcha. And by the way, that's a good way. And I'd like to add that I'm real grateful to the indie community who has, people like Gareth, people like Lori, people like you guys in this room who do the liking and the sharing and the posting, because, a lot of creators like to say things like, well, the Facebook algorithm is broken, it's burying me. But that's not the case at all. What you have to do is interact with the people, and you'll quickly see everything kind of blossom. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And Tim, if I could, I'm sorry, could I
go ahead, man? Yeah, please.
I just wanted to touch on something that you said about helping creators, and it's like how I think why I have such appreciation for that is, I mean, I don't know how it is for everybody else, but I mean, I literally have been doing this, like printing copies of Symphonic Verses. I started printing them and going to shows 27 years ago.
Wow.
And so
wow.
They were just black and white. There was no print on demand. I had to like print the books and like fold and cut them myself. So like the original copies I have, the edges are real jagged and all that stuff. They're terrible. I was green as the Emerald City. And I'm saying that to say back then, without social media, without, if you weren't an established artist at a actual publishing house, people thought it was hard to get into comics. If they think it's hard today, back then comics was like old school wrestling. You didn't get in and waited or knew somebody. And so I had to learn everything on my own, because there was no one to show me. So I had to just watch the things that I liked, and I learned to figure it out. But what's great about today is that it's so easy for creators who are just getting into it, and you can help them. And there's all these avenues that are available today that, almost 30 years ago, it was not there. And so that idea of helping, it goes a very long way. It really does, because it can be a daunting thing when you kind of jump in, getting into comics. It's like having a little bit of swimming ability and you jump in the deep end of the pool and you're trying to keep your head afloat. And so I just think it's good. It's important for people who know how to help to do that, to actually, give people advice to help them. Because I know what it's like to be in the place where nobody would help you. And so you had to learn the really, really hard way. And I did. But that was my circumstance. I can't speak for other people, but it's really good to do that. So that's always a big respect thing.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And, in the case for most of us, I actually don't really know what I'm doing, and you guys might have perceived that.
Me neither.
So what I do is I try to gather smart
Same
people
there.
and I start asking them questions. And that's really, I do this, of course, because I want to help others, but I got to be direct with you. This really helps me a lot, and I'm grateful to you guys. Thanks for sharing your knowledge.
Well, thanks for having us.
Thanks to you, Tim.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us, man.
I did want to make a quick comment about the, and I'll ask you guys if you use this too. I have now started using a QR code in the. First, let me preface this by saying we talked a little bit about web sales. And one of the things that's tricky, customers are funny about being sold things, right? We sometimes call it the elements of discovery. They want to feel like they found it. When you say, if you're a music fan, I'm a music guy, and I like to feel like I discovered that band. If somebody's telling me, it's like, well, I kind of want to find it on my own, if it was some secret I uncovered. Well, it's the same thing with books, right? So we have to be careful. Now, I'm speaking for myself, not you guys. I don't always want to be that guy. Buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. I want to kind of bury the seeds and let customers find them. So in my case now, what I do is I put the QR code in the books, and I even have a QR code in my stand in Baltimore. And people always hit it thinking it's going to be the website or the sales platform. And of course, mine goes to the thing where it's either helping other creators or it's my YouTube channel where we're talking about pop culture stuff. So it doesn't even necessarily tell you to buy the book, you understand? It's kind of like they discover me as the creator. And then if they follow me, they go, oh, he writes this book. And hopefully it's like breadcrumbs. It's not necessarily too salesy, but I can tell you it's by far the best thing that I've done.
Yeah.
Because, you can track if people came through the QR code or not. And the one that came up the highest was that's how I sell the most digital copies. So, and like I say, they're only $4 or $5 a pop, but there's no cost to it for me whatsoever. No shipping, no production. It's just like the little $5 bill dropping into the account every couple of days. So, for people listening, I definitely recommend the QR code.
Yeah, because I wanted to add up for what she was saying, that because social media, yes, is makes it easier, but also you are on their turf. Is they are the one who control who shows who, how they show it, etc., etc. Because as mentioned before, I was there from the beginning, and at the beginning we have crazy interaction. A lot of people, the webpage was swimming like crazy and then growing like crazy, but now it's very complicated because the problem now is that you have 3,000 people, 5,000 people, 8,000, 10,000. Always everybody showing things, and the competition is ferocious out there, and the quality is crazy, and so ultimately saying everybody's selling their things. So why are they going to buy from you if they can buy X or Y or Z? So it's tricky in that sense. It's good, but mainly the main things are you saying, and that's something I read many years ago, and I think is key. I come from theater. That's what my background.
Oh,
that's
nice.
Cool. Open my really sharpen my teeth, and there is a community. So you have what's called scene. So you have to have a scene,
right?
You have to have like-minded people, like with you, like you making same mistake or similar, or you can go to, you have a question or you have an issue, or that's something everybody here is running Kickstarter and crowdfunding stuff like that. So you need to have a team, and only like a core team that does the art, that does the lettering, and does the printing and stuff, whatever. But also a team of, hey, what about this? And hey, what? How do you solve this? Or how do you make this? How do you do that? Yeah. That's key to any endeavor, because we, especially writers and artists, we're always like in our cave doing our things, but we need to stretch out and really connect with others like-minded, and that's something I really love about the indie community, that is really it's very homogeneous. So there's a lot of people doing different things, but we all kind of help each other to a big extent, and that's key, because you never know. As Timothy was saying, you do it for selfish reasons to a certain degree, because you never know who's gonna, like Shane, who's gonna do a TV series, gonna do a movie. You never know. And the thing is that it happens.
Yeah.
And you have some connections there, some networking. So that's key. And for if you guys giving advice for somebody who's starting, for me, what I will do is I will follow someone who's doing something similar to me, who's been more down the road than I am, and I just strictly copy what they do. That's it.
Yeah.
In racing, we call that drafting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me
Picasso,
try.
the one that said that, you know, that the normal artist steal. Sorry, the normal artist copy, but the good ones steal.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that too, and that's well said. I want to move on to this question. I want to see if you guys use this one. I'm going to talk a little bit about the electronic press kit. You familiar with what I'm talking about? Okay,
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit. One of the new things that I've started doing, and I picked this up from a creator in Baltimore. By the way, I'll give him a shout out. He's Trevor Fernandez Lenkevich. His book is Area 51. It's a great book. You can see him at the Baltimore Comic-Con. But he recommended that anytime you submit to a publisher or even to be on a podcast or anything that is what I would call a professional venture, you want to send your electronic press kit, which would be something like, it is, hey, what's up, Danny? Good to see you, buddy. You want to send your like a promo shot, which the promo shot could be your photograph or it could be your book. You want to send your bibliography of what you'd written. You want to send your links, which is your, let's say it's your Facebook, your website, and your YouTube, whatever you've got. And then like a letter, you know, thank you for considering me for the da-da-da-da-da-da. Sincerely, Davey Lee. And it's essentially, it's a form letter, but it's got all your pertinent things in there. And you can send it either as a link or as a PDF. First off, it's for Christian. Christian, do you use one? And if you do, what do you put in it?
we have something every project we always do. We have a press kit, so we have like the information of the book, like the technical aspect of it, how many pages, what's the format, what is published, the language that we do, etc., etc. Because normally we're at least published in 2 languages, Spanish and English most of the time, and that's like the first thing. And then we have like the authors involved, the stories involved, and a couple of samples of the book. Like from each story, for example, the last one we did from each story is a page, and we send it through, as you mentioned, we send it through anybody who interact with us, rather press or like stores or for example, in we do the Free Comic Book Day, the Spanish one. They ask us something like that for the stores, so the stores know which books are going to be in, so they can pick and choose. So something that, yeah, for sure. What I didn't do is the one that you mentioned, the links, but I'm gonna start doing that too.
Yeah.
Like a small cover letter. Oh, thank you for considering us. That's always important because in the website you have all the bibliography, but probably I should also include it there. So it's a good idea.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Davey, how about you? Have you experimented with this at all?
No, it's the first time hearing about it. I mean, it does sound similar to pitching your book, and it starts with yourself and having a nice looking document to send off to publishers or people you're working with. I remember when I first sent mine to Luis, he goes, "This needs work."
and tell us why. Give us some more details here. Why did he say?
Oh, it was awful, man. Like, so it's my first time doing comics, and I have it on a Word document and like pasting pictures in there. And Luis is so great. He's kind of like my comic book daddy. So he's like, not discouraging at all, but just always encouraging. And he's like, you can do better on this and whatnot. And so like, I just got Canva. I was like, I need help with this stuff. I'm not good at this digital document stuff. So I subscribed to Canva. Actually, my fiance's brother, again, he helped me with that. He majored in, I think, graphic design. And he just sent me to that site, and it was 1,000 times better. And, it's got the little bios of all the creators. It's got everything we've been working on. It's just a nice format. And so, yeah, of course, if you're talking to other people in the business industry, it's just, any kind of business industry, it's just good to look professional and have something like that.
Right. We are professionals.
Yeah.
We are professionals.
As much as I don't like it.
And so let's move over to Shing. How about you, Shing? Do you use electronic press kit? And if you do, what do you include in it?
Yeah, I do. And kind of I have the log line and the short synopsis and links and images of the covers, or like sometimes I'll send the posters of like the main characters like Adonis and Sapphirose and stuff like that. And, nice. And I use that a lot with connecting with new comic shops that maybe aren't familiar with me, or doing interviews for like magazines or things like that. So I use it for those aspects, and it's a very short, simple, easy way to get it across. You want to make it quick and engaging, and it helps a lot.
Yeah, that's a good one. I always like to give the tip too. If you're talking to a publisher, hey, the press release and the electronic press kit is a godsend. But if you're sending images, and particularly if you're sending files, don't forget to embed your name into each file somehow. Here's why I say this. Most publishers, they could be talking to 100 creators that day. And if you're sending images, they might look at 200 covers in one day. So it's helpful to have not only the name of the book, but your name in the file.
Interesting.
Right.
Like for them to search?
Well, yeah. And not only that, because if they're anything like we are, they might have 6, 7, 8 windows open on their computer, right? And they don't remember that Tim was the one that sent the Water Wars cover. Like they remember the title because it's in the file, but it's so many. And what happens when you have somebody looking at that much material, if it's difficult for them, we always call it don't create a barrier to sales.
Sure, yeah.
So they're like, I can't find the damn thing. I'll just get this guy who's got his name right on the front thing,
It's the same philosophy to writing stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't give barriers to your readers, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a key thing. What you were just saying, Tim. And I mean, one of the things that I have heard so much is people will say, well, I'm not getting sales. They'll say, well, I'm doing a Kickstarter, but I'm not getting sales. And then you ask them about their project, and they'll say, okay, well, this happens, but then, oh, wait, but this happens first, and then the character does this. So there's too much like ping pong going on, and it's not and so that's really where it's important to, one, you have to really, really know your story, know your craft, really know the story, know the characters. And like you said, you have publishers looking at all these high volumes of submissions. If a customer, if a publisher, someone you meet at a show, if you cannot within 15 to 30 seconds hook them in and go boom, 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 and they're ready to then become a believer, you're doing it wrong. Because it means you can say, oh, I know, I got my stuff, but no, you really don't, because no one wants to hear a 10-minute pitch. That's not that's not how I've had people approach me to ask, well, I want to get my book turned into a TV show, and I heard you have to make a pitch Bible and you have to do this, and I want to put all these things in there. And my first thing is, I always tell them, besides, you need to know what company you're wanting to send it to. A lot of times you can't just send unsolicited things, but if you get a chance to get your series looked at, if you put 30, 40 pages, guess where it's going? To the bottom of the pile. And the normally the producers who were on the short end of the totem pole get stuck going through the bins of what's in there, and they then say, hey, this seems interesting, so if you drag it out, if you try to overdo it, if you'll kill it, you will destroy any chance of trying to make it something else. So it's really important to have that. You need to have it down to a science. And then anyone could ask, and you can just fire it off. Boom, it's about this. This is what happens, and reel them in. And if you can't do that, then you have to go back to the drawing board.
I totally agree. And Shane, thanks for bringing that up. That's something that I've worked on with creators on quite a bit, is that it's the right way to say this. We all, most of us are writers, so we all seem to think that, hey, my words, if I just flood the world with these words, everyone's going to love it. When the truth is, particularly at a convention, you might have 10 to 20 seconds to get your point across. So you need to boil it down to its simplest ingredient, right? And it's got to be a hook. The reason why they say elevator pitch, remind the viewers, it's because if you're going from floor 2 to floor 3, you want to get that across in one floor. It's not that the elevator is going to the 93rd floor. Right. So
exactly.
they're not asking you for the synopsis. They're not asking you all the names of the characters. Put it down in, realistically, it could be 2 sentences. If it's 1 sentence, I'd say that's probably even better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and also work with what she was saying before, like work with somebody what somebody knows, and work through there. Because, for example, that's one of the pitches we do for punk rock, for example. Say, hey, if you like Black Mirror, this is your book. That's it.
Right.
Yeah. Boom, done. So you already know the product, you already know the IP, the famous one. So this is the same idea, but cyberpunk and comics. So go.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
because the lifespan, the life attention is very short, especially nowadays, and it's getting shorter. It was a lot of studies that talk about this. It was like 35 seconds a decade ago. It's now like 20, 25. So if you're gonna bore somebody with a pitch that's gonna take a minute, forget about it. So you need to boom, 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 quick, as you mentioned, 1 sentence. This is what you're gonna find, and as you mentioned before, so Timothy, let the reader find it.
Discover it.
Exactly. Let them discover it. It's a lot easier than if you guide them by the hands. And no.
Yeah.
This is what you're gonna find. Go for it. Just take a look at the art. I'm here if you have any questions, but don't try to be too pushy with
right. You want to work on. I got a little bit of a sales and marketing background, and you want to work on pulling them rather than pushing them into the sale.
Yeah,
exactly. Correct. And that whole ideal about buy this, buy it, support, buy it. Do people that, like you said, Tim, they don't want to be pushed. Right. When you're telling people buy this, buy it, support, you're pushing them. Right. Exactly. Because really the truth is that, and I find this a lot amongst, I've been seeing this a lot amongst creators with their, crowdfunding campaigns. Now I don't use crowdfunding, so I know, I understand the benefit that it has. I get it, and how it really helps so many people in their projects. But the problem is that for maybe people who are new, or they're not as experienced, and they're just putting up there and they're saying, here's this, support it.
Right.
But you're not engaging, you're giving them a command. You're trying to boss them into, instead of saying, hey, if you like this, let me see if this will interest you. Let me show you something maybe unique. And then it's followed by these complaints. Oh, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that. But because people don't want to be told you have to buy this. Right. No, you have to show people the value of what you're doing, and you have to be able to do it in that very short window. And like Christian said, I mean, really, you might have 20 seconds, you might have 30 seconds, but if you can't get that hook right there and help them to then want to step through that door themselves, if you're telling them, I want you to do this, no one's going to do that. They're going to be like, yeah, if you're not Todd McFarlane, and guess what? Todd McFarlane, family, they don't have to tell people, you guys need to buy my stuff. People know, they just buy it. They know because it sells itself. And it's so, you have to, it's the way that you present it without bullying the customer with pressure to buy it. That's a really, that tactic does not work. Right. It really doesn't.
That's when that log line comes in. I mean, if you treat your readers and people that you meet, just as important as your, publisher or somebody you're trying to make a deal with or something like that, treating them with that level of respect and their time, and just giving them what your thing's about and why you're passionate about it. I think that's just contagious, right? I mean, people always like to be involved in something that somebody else is excited about. So if you're excited, you can get other people excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the whole thing is, sorry, Timothy, I interrupted you there. It's the whole thing is that's like Shane was saying, we're competing. Well, a friend of mine also say all the time, Eric, that we're competing with who we're competing with. We're competing with people like Jim Lee,
I try not to think
that's
about
our
that.
competition right there. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like or Todd or so those are competitions. So what you gonna offer? So forget about how impressive my art is. So no. You have to offer them an experience. You have to offer that, like David was saying. You have to look him in the eye and say, "Hey, this is my life work, man. This is what I do." Okay, and also, and I think it's the golden rule. Treat others like you would like to treat yourself. Because before we started publishing things and releasing things, we were also consumers. We were also readers.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to go to a convention or to an event and have somebody to shove a book down your throat. Say, hey, buy this. And say, no, hey, who are you? What is this?
Right.
Relax. Let me check. So be like that.
Exactly.
And yeah, because I've seen people doing that on conventions too. I said, no, buddy, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not good for you.
I totally agree.
That affects your brand harsh, because it has this seller's mentality that, oh no, I need to get this in front of as much people as possible. So no. It's like dating. You don't go to a date and say, hey, like me, love me. So, hey, relax.
Is that why I was single for so long?
Get some wine, man. Let's open up, let's have some talk, and then we can talk about the other stuff. But
sure.
Don't look pushy. Don't do desperate, because people smell that miles away. So no. It's the opposite.
Well said. So, fellas, we're just about ready to run out of time. And honestly, I think we could do this one for 2 hours, but let's do this.
Let's go.
I'd like to know a little bit more about your product. So if you can, and we'll start here with Christian. Tell us in closing, who will love your project, and maybe give a little bit of a shout out to your team as well.
It's easy. If you love Black Mirror, if you love Blade Runner, if you love Death and Robots, if you love The Matrix, this is the book. That's it. There's nothing else. It's 13 stories.
I love all
125 pages. People from all over the place, from Japan, from the States, from Europe. It's beautiful stuff. You have a couple of manga stories there. You have dark fiction. You have more science fiction. You have more cyberpunk. It's a cyberpunk book, so it's mainly about that technology. What the future holds for us. The near future, the one that we're right now, the one in 10 years, the one in 100 years, the one in 1,000 years. So
it looks terrific. It looks terrific, man. I got to check this out. I wish you every success with this project.
Thank you, sir. No, everybody, we got good reviews to everybody who sit down and watch it. They kind of like it. So it took us almost 2 years to release it, because we started first last year. We tried, didn't work out. We revamped it. We twist and turn a little bit, and now it's on the way. It's a punkdroid.eu. If you want to take a look at the book, you can also check the Kickstarter. There's the more information you have in the video there in the channels. Unpopular Tales is the brand, the studio, and you have us everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. So we're all over the place. So if you have any of those 5 things I mentioned, that's the book you need to check out. So.
That's your jam. I'll be checking that one out.
Yeah.
Let's jump over to Davey. Davey, I am a fan of Benigno. You know that. I love your creative team. Tell us who will love this project.
Who's going to love it? I think everybody's going to love it who likes the hero's tale. I mean, it is really just a story about the character that I fell in love with writing, Benigno, who is an El Salvadorian, who's on the run from some gangsters, who has a demon inside his belly who's possessed him, and he's just got to get the hell out of there. And it's an adventure ride over mountains, across rivers, through forests. It's got dark spots, it's got light spots. It's about, it's really about the heart, and that's where I try to write. Just simple, straightforward. Let's go north.
And I love the artwork, and I love the sort of surreal elements of it. I mean,
man, Luis blows me away all the time. I love, I always look at his art again, and I got the book finally for my comps, and I'm looking at it, and there's more things I realize about it. Like, he'll go 2D sometimes. It'll be a 3D scene, character, the characters are sort of 3D, in a 2D image as much as possible. But then he'll just flatten out an arm, or he'll do something that sort of draws your eye to a specific part of how you're going to tell the story on the page. I mean, his ability to get your eye to do that Z or S pattern through the page is just really fantastic. Yeah,
I dig his colors also. I think he's a master of color.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Xing, hey, you know the things I've said about this book. Of course, this is Symphonic Verses. Tell us a little bit who will love this project. Who do you think will absolutely love this?
If you're fans of things like Final Fantasy and Castlevania, if you enjoy things like Lord of the Rings, that's really people who will enjoy this kind of tale. And it's the very human element that is forefront, but it's masked by all of this over the top and extravagant fantasy world. And it's really about things we know and understand. You know, if we have people that we lose, that we love, but if we could alter that, if we could change things and save someone from death, what extents would you go to get power over that and to alter everything? And so that's what is really happening. Is it's a story about loss and love and redemption, and what happens when you can only make bad choices to make right ones. But at what cost does it come? And you know, so those are really it's that human element that's a cross section of fantasy and reality, but just a very extravagant world that it takes place in.
You sold me.
Yeah. By the way, all the things that you just mentioned, I love all those things. So that's terrific, man. In closing, I just want to say, first off, really thanks so much to our guest tonight. I think you have some stellar projects. I think this is the cream of the crop of the indie world. And I don't say that lightly because I'm very critical of things. And I wish you every success with these projects. And thanks for sharing your knowledge on the show.
You too, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
To the viewers, it was a pleasure. This was a great show. We could definitely go for hours on this one. For the viewers, thanks for tuning in. This is the Creative Cranium, and we'll see you guys next week. Good night, everybody.
Take care, guys.
See ya. Have a great night.
Enjoy. Thank you.